Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and what I want to do today was cover more Svelte. And today I just wanted to kind of show the whole idea of sort of reactive data. So basically, for example, in React you had state, and with state, if state changed, it would render. It would cause a re-render of your component. But if other variables change, it did not cause a re-render of your component. That's because the framework had to keep monitoring the variables. Um, Same thing in Stencil. Stencil, you have state as well. In Angular, you use kind of directives and ng ifs to kind of see, oh, this data is going to change to this, and ng binds to kind of bind data with different elements. And in Vue, you have sort of this big object that you store sort of your data that's responsive in. But in Stencil, you don't. You just put the data where you want, and if there's an assignment to the data, when it compiles, it's going to be reactive because again, it's compiled at and then at compilation, it just figures all that stuff out for you, and puts in the the DOM responses that are needed instead of having to have sort of this framework that's kind of constantly monitoring everything, which is really cool. So I spun up a new Svelte project. We didn't really do much with the one from before, but let me just get to the source code. Okay, and again, I just want to create one other. So let me just create a new file. New file. Okay, and we're just going to call this buttons.svelte. Okay. And in this component, we're just going to import it. Import buttons from buttons.svelte. I need to install a Svelte plugin so that way we can have some syntax. Oh, here it goes. There's for extensions for Svelte. Yeah, let's do that. Let's add an extension so that way we can see all the nice colors. Okay, so there we go. Let's install that. It's doing its thing. Let's get back to the code. Okay, so buttons.svelte. And then I need to put that in quotations. And I need to put the relative URL signature, so /. Cool. So that should be fine. And then let's go to buttons.svelte. And actually, let me put it somewhere. So let's put it right here. Buttons. Save. So now let's see, did this install? It installed. Oh well, the highlighting will kick in when the highlighting kicks in. Okay. So, first thing we need to do is just create some HTML. So we'll just create a div. Okay. And I'm going to have a button. Okay, and then make this lowercase. Button. Okay, and this button will just say push me. Cool. Save. And then basically we want our JavaScript. So script. And we want a variable. So we're going to say let number equal 5. Okay, and then I should be able to just print that number over here. So I'll just use some templating and say, hey, number is going to be here. And let's just see if that's showing up in our screen yet. So again, basically the way a Svelte component works is you just put in some HTML, you put in script tags for your JavaScript, and you would put in a style tag for your style, but I haven't done that yet. But let's take a look over here, and we can see there's the button. Right now the button doesn't do anything, and there's the number 5. Cool. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create a function. Const push equals no parameters And all it's going to do is just say number equals number plus number. So essentially it doubles the number on every go around. Save. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, and then we're gonna, if I remember, I think it's just do it like a normal on click, but let's find out. On click, we'll just run number. No, not number, push. I think there is a slightly different syntax for this. We'll look it up in a second. Save. And let's go back to over here. Yeah. If I remember right, I think it's something like going to be like on colon click or something like that. There is a weird way of writing for the event functions. So let's head over to the documentation. Again, the documentation is really good. And one of the skills of programming is always just to kind of figure out how to read documentation. So let's see here. Runtime Svelte on mount. No, that's like lifecycle functions. Where are the events? Here we go. On event name. There we go. It is on colon. That's what I thought. Okay, so this is going to be on click. Like that. So let's check this out again. And there you go. And see, I didn't have to like label it state or anything. It's just like writing normal JavaScript. I can just kind of do this all day. Or at least until it starts complaining that the numbers are getting too big. But see, it's just a normal button. Just label as a click event on the button. And whenever there's an assignment, it's going to change the data. Now, the thing you have to be careful for is with like objects. Okay? So, for example, let's say I did this. So let's say I created an object called data. Okay? And let data equal, and then inside data, there's the variable number 5. Okay, and then there's a variable called cheese that equals cheese. Okay. And I need a comma over here. Now if I did this, data.number equals data.number plus data.number. And then this will be data.number. Now the problem with this is that technically when I do this, I'm not assigning a new variable to data. Okay, it's paying, the way Svelte works is that it's paying attention for a successful assignment. It's changing the actual variable. So now this should stop working now. So let's head over there. Okay, now if I hit push me, it's still working. That's very nice. But did it? Let me refresh. Did I save? Yeah, I guess it works. Okay, because I know there was an issue where you wanted to make sure, at least maybe in older versions of Svelte, that it would be like you'd be creating a new object. So essentially what would happen is that what you would really want to do is do something like this. Data equals, then you would use a spread operator for data to get all the other properties, and then you would just do like number equals data dot number plus data dot number. So this way, technically, you are altering the number data, but what you're doing is you're assigning a new object. So basically, you're creating a new object, and that would trigger the assignment. I mean, this might be very similar if you worked with like the useState hook in React. This is something you still have to do there, and it's not so bad, especially because of the spread operator. If it wasn't for the spread operator, it'd be torture. Cool. So let's try that out. Make sure it still works. Yep, and it still works. Okay. Bottom line, is just basically as the data changes, the stuff on the screen changes. All data is essentially inherently reactive. You don't have to do anything fancy. You don't have to worry about what state, what isn't state. The data changes, the data changes. So that's pretty cool. That's one of the nice things about Svelte. This is the one less thing to think about. And again, the click events or different events are pretty simple. On, colon, click. Okay, you can even make stuff sort of, there's also really cool directives. So let's just go back to the docs for a moment. So again, you have stuff like if you want to make an if statement, so if you want to make an element conditional, kind of like an Angular, kind of like in, so these are more like Angular's directives. So if this is going to be more like ng4, where you can iterate over stuff. They even have a directive for like asynchronous actions. Also really cool stuff. And then they also have like lifecycle, so like, you know, kind of like on mount, all that stuff over here. So, and you have like context, so that way if you need to pass variables down a huge component chain, kind of like in React, you can do that as well. But overall, again, very nice syntax, very nice setup. Big fan of Svelte. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. I'll see you guys in the next video.